Hello everyone, this is Pastor Jason Mills. So very quickly, I want to share with you this message for the week. And we're coming from 1 Samuel chapter 16 primarily. And I'm telling you, this message God gave me has blessed my life tremendously. And I pray it will bless you going into this week. So understand something. 1 Samuel 16 and 7, God spoke to Samuel when he went to the house of Jesse and he was going to find a king for Israel. And when Samuel got there, he saw one of Jesse's sons and he said, "Oh, this guy looks like he could be king. He's tall, he's muscular, he looks like he could lead, God's people against any and all odds." But the Lord said, "Do not be fooled by his appearance, because I've actually rejected him." All right, you look at the outward appearance, that's what man sees it. But God says in verse 7, he says, "But I look at the heart." And if I had to give this message any title at all, I would simply call it "As God as my witness." As God as my witness. If you get nothing else, understand that if God is the only one who sees you, if only God sees what he has inside of you and who you are truly within your heart, that should be enough. And that should be enough for you to walk within your calling, walk within your gift set, not your skill set, your gift set, and also execute every assignment that God has given you that brings glory back to him. That should be enough, regardless if nobody else gives you a chance, if nobody else provides an opportunity for you. That should be enough for you to go out there and do what God has called you to do. Because when God is choosing a king, he didn't choose the most, He didn't choose the obvious choice in our minds. The obvious choice would be one of Jesse's older sons. Somebody who looks like he could fight, someone who looks like he could be a mighty man of valor. But God anointed the smallest, most insignificant human being in that family, the shepherd boy, the weakest link, somebody who you don't expect to lead anything, especially in that culture where the youngest has to be subservient to the older. But here's the thing, God still chose him. God still chose David over everyone else. God told Samuel, "I've rejected all of these sons that you put in front of me. But this man, this is the one I choose to be king over Israel." This is it. And not only that, God has looked at your life. He's looked at everyone around you. He's looked at everyone he could give this assignment to, but he chose you. He chose you. He called you. He wants you. And mind you, God might be the only person who can see it. David got approved by God, because God sees his heart. And only, mind you, not only did God is the only one who saw David's heart, but God approved him in front of a small crowd of people. That is you, more than likely. You don't need a big crowd of people. It doesn't have to be a big grandiose thing. If God sees you, if God is your only witness, that should be enough to motivate you to get out there and walk within your calling. Doesn't matter if you have a big crowd in front of you. Doesn't matter if you have a big following. If God approved you, get out there and get busy. Get out there and walk within your gift set. Get out there and do what God has created you to do. Because the same David, even though the people anointed Saul as king later, even though the people anointed Saul, God anointed David. And David's kingship didn't come until later, but the same David who slew Goliath, the same David who had to be on the run from Saul and Abimelech, the same David eventually got what God has promised him, because God approved him. God is the one who approves. It doesn't matter what nobody else says. God's word reigns supreme. His will reigns supreme. His will be done no matter what. And it doesn't matter how insignificant you may feel. It does not matter how insignificant everybody else may call you. You are still chosen by God. And that's enough. Doesn't matter what they try to do. Doesn't matter how much they try to destroy the calling within you, the fire within you. If God has called you, that promise is for you. If God is the only one who sees you, if God is the only one who approves you, if God is the only one you got in your corner, go ahead and pursue your calling. Pursue what he put in your heart. Pursue what he put inside of you, because what he put inside of you is going to bless the masses. Not only is it going to bless the masses, it's going to bring glory to him. At the end of the day, if it brings glory to him, that's his will. It doesn't matter if anybody else thinks you can do it. It doesn't matter if anybody else doubts you. God saw you and God said yes. Everybody else says no, but God says yes. Noah looked like a fool until it started raining. Nelson Mandela said, it looks impossible until it's done. You can do it. You really can. I'm not going to quote him verbatim because, there's a lot of profanity he used. But my favorite player in the NBA is Dwight Howard. People look at Dwight Howard and say he's a bust. He has not lived up to his first round draft pick status. But when he won the championship with LA, he said it in his video. He says, hold on to your dreams. Hold on to it. You can do it. It might take longer than you expected, but you can do it. You've been approved by God. You've been chosen. So don't doubt it for a second. When God approves you, doesn't matter how little or how less they expect of you, God expects greatness from you. He's doing a greater, greater is he who is in me than he who is in the world, okay? He's doing a great work in you. And so therefore, it doesn't matter if anybody doesn't expect anything of you. As God is my witness, you got to say that to yourself. As God is my witness, I shall be this. I shall do that. Whatever he's called you to do, whatever he's called you to be, as God is my witness, I will do it. I will get it done. And I don't care who stands in my way. As God is my witness, they shall be removed. As God as my witness, I will execute every single promise that God has promised me. Execute every assignment he's given me. That's what you have to say. That's what I want you to say this week, because that term was used by a lot of people who don't have a lot of people to believe in them. He says, as God is my witness, it means if God is the only person who sees what I see, sometimes he sees the things that we don't even see in ourselves. But if God is my only witness, that's all I need. If God is your only witness, he's the only one who thinks you can do it. That's all you need to get started with your purpose, get started with your assignment, and to walk within your calling. Doesn't matter what anybody else says. If God said yes, that's all you need. I don't care what anyone else says. They might think they can stop what God has started, but they can't. God put something in you who sees it, anybody who sees this video. You might think that you ain't nobody special, but I promise you, God has put something in you that's going to bless the masses. And I'm telling you, what God sees what you do in secret, he's going to reward you openly. Go ahead and walk within your calling. Doesn't matter if God's the only one who sees it, because he's the only one who needs to. If you don't get the glory of men, that's okay. If you don't have a crowd of people cheering you on, that's okay. Because when we die, the one person who called us and gave us this assignment is the one we answer to, not them. So if you've been called, go for it. Because as God is my witness, you're worthy of that calling. May God bless you and God keep you until we meet again. I love you all so much. Be safe and be blessed. And I'll see you again next week.